Alright, you need your notebook, you need your pattern analysis sheet, you need your color pencils, a writing pencil, and you need some glue. So, let's do this. We're going to do our first set of notes. So again, make sure to fill out your table of contents so we know where we're going, what we're doing. So make sure you do that. 4.1.1, pattern analysis, 11.4. And you're just going to go here. And you're going to write this as our heading. And we're not going to glue yet because if we glue now, it's going to be hard to write out. So we glue last. So we're going to glue last. So just move that to the side. So pattern analysis. So we're going to be analyzing this pattern here. We're going to be doing the following. So let's just get started. Alright, we got to start by drawing, extending the pattern by drawing figures 0, 4, and 5. So we first need to just kind of notice what's going on in here. So we should see like changes that are happening that are consistent. So like for me, the first thing I noticed, we have this one towel that's always up here. There's always one. And then I noticed there's like 2 here, 3 here, 4 here. So again, these are the things I'm noticing. And then in the inside, I'm noticing that this forms a square. And so I'm just going to count the sides of the square. And this is going to like guide me on what I need to do for the future. So here I have a 3 by 3, 4 by 4, and a 5 by 5. So I'm going to make sure I use all of this to help me lay this all out. So we're doing figure 0 first. Okay, so figure 0, we know we have our 1 square at the top left, just like this. And because this is a figure 1 and it's a 3 by 3, we literally added 2 to the figure number. And that's why I got 3 by 3. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 2, 4. 3 plus 3, 5. So 0 plus 2 is just 2. So we're going to have a 2 by 2. Okay. And here we have plus 2, 3, 4. So 1 plus 1, 2. 2 plus 2, or excuse me, 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. So we're going to do 0 plus 1, which is just 1. Okay, so this is what you should have gotten. So next we're doing figure 4. Still going to have that top left there. So if I have a 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5, the next one must be a 6 by 6. Okay, so again, this was a 2 by 2. This was 1. This is a 6 by 6. And so therefore we're going to have, notice, this 1. We're just adding 1 to the figure number. So this is 4, so this must be 5 right here. Okay. And then we have figure 5. Still have that 1 at the top. And instead of a 6 by 6, we're doing a 7 by 7 because 5 plus 2 is 7. So again, this is a 7 by 7. And then we have 5 plus 1, which is 6. Okay, so these are my figures, and this is how I found it out by looking at the patterns and then just following them. Okay, so now we're taking it a step further, and we're going to describe figure 100. We're going to say what it looks like, how the tiles be arranged, and how many tiles we'll have. So for number 1, we're going to use words. So for number 1, it says, what will figure 100 look like? So we know figure 100 will have square or towel in the top left corner. So we know that because all of these have 1. So we know figure 100 is going to have 1. Notice how this is a 5 by 5 and this is a 4. So again, I'm sorry, 5 by 5 and this is a 3. So figure 100, we need to add 2 to it. So we know it's going to be 102 by 102 towels in the center. Okay. And then lastly, the bottom row. We notice the bottom row. So there's 3, we added 1 to get 4. 2, we added 1 to get 3. 5, we added 1 to get 6. So we're just adding 1 to 100. So we'll write in 101 towels in the bottom row. Okay? So it's in words. Now we're going to draw a picture to show how it's arranged. So again, we have our 1 at the top. Then we have our square, because we're not going to draw all of the squares. We're just going to draw an empty box, and we're going to note that it's 102 by 102, because remember this is figure 100, and we had to add 2 to that. And at the bottom, we're only adding 1, so that's 101. So that's what the picture would look like. Then 3, we're actually going to find the number of towels. So again, that is just going to be 102 times 102. Okay, so that's a times, plus the 1 at the top, plus the 101 at the bottom. So if you're wondering where we got that from, so again, 1, (102), and then of course we have the 101. That's where those numbers came from. And so 102 times 102 is 10,404 plus 1 plus 101.
Sophia, your Jimmy John.
So again, 1 plus 101 is 102. Now we're just going to add this all together. So we have 10,506 towels. And this is for figure 100. I don't know about you, but I definitely don't want to draw 10,506 towels. So this is how we showed that instead. We showed kind of like an outline. Alright? So next, we're going to go ahead and flip. I'm just going to fill in our table, and we're just going to count just how many we drew in our pictures. So in figure 0, you're just going to count them up. So pause it and count it up. So figure 0, how many do you have? And just do the same for all of them. So pause it now, count how many you had, and then come back. Start just counting the numbers. So you should have been counting in here. You should have got these numbers. So check your work, make sure your work is consistent. And you should already notice there's no constant rate. So we currently don't have a constant rate. But we still want to know what our x and y represent. So x variable equals our figure number. Y variable equals our number of towels. And these labels are important because you'll need them for your graph. So you're just going to slide over to our graph. First thing we're going to do is put some titles. So we're going to put a label. So this is pattern analysis This is our y-axis. This is our x-axis. This is our figure number here. And this is our number of towels here. Okay? So for my figure number, it's just counting by 1. So I'm going to just continue that pattern. Starting with 0, of course. And then going up, I notice it's like mostly going by 6s, even though we have a couple that are off. So I'm just going to continue that trend and go by 6s. And now we're just going to plot our points. So remember, our x value goes first, then our y. So we have 0 over 0 up 6. So I'm just going to take a color pencil. So over 0 up 6. Over 1 up 12. Over 2 up 20. There's no 20, so I'm just going to go a little bit above 18. Over 3 up 30. Over 4 up 42. Over 5 up 56. A little bit above 54. And so after you've plotted this, you want to connect them. And again, you should notice, even though it looks like I'm looping, but you should notice that, if I just would have went straight instead of the loops, let's see if I can fix this. There we go. So there we go. Just darken my line a little bit. So this is still not linear. So this is a non-linear line. And that is important to know. Okay? So let's move on. So now we are going to show the change using colors. So they want us to show the change using colors. We've kind of already been showing the change, but we're going to do it now, just making sure it's explicitly shown with colors. So I personally saw 3 major changes happening, so I'm going to do 3 colors. So I saw this one happening every time. So again, just coloring that in because I saw 1 every time happening. So you don't have to color this whole box in. You can just say, like, if you use red, you can just say red. I like to color. This is my chance to color. This is also your chance to color. So if you're anything like me, take the advantage of being able to color. Okay, so that's the red box. So we have the red there. So we have our red. Then I noticed this change inside. So I noticed this square every time. And I really wanted to highlight this square that happened every time. So again, highlighting the square. Okay, and then lastly, we're coloring my box again. You can literally just write the color name if that's easier for you. I just like coloring. And then lastly, I saw this last change. So we're going to show this in words and expressions. Okay, so let's focus on the red box. So in words, there's always 1 towel in the upper left corner. So always 1 towel in upper left corner. And if I was to write this as an expression, it would just be +1 because we're adding 1 each time. For the orange, you should notice that it's always like a perfect square. So it's a perfect square. And this perfect square is always the figure number +2. So it's a perfect square, which is, we call it figure number is just x, remember? So the perfect square is just the figure number +2 times the figure number +2. Okay? And so that is just x plus 2 squared, because that's what a perfect square is. It's squared. So then lastly we have the purple section, and we are just add the figure number +1 each time on the bottom. We're just adding the figure number each time on the bottom. And again, figure number is x. So we're doing x plus 1. So we have all these expressions now because we've broken this down. So again, remember, this is +1. This is x plus 2 squared. And this is x plus 1. We're now going to put them all together to make a rule. So before we can make our rule, we first need to do x plus 2 squared, because that itself is a beast. So we're going to just do x plus 2 squared to just break that up first. So x plus 2 squared is just x plus 2 times x plus 2. And so this can get pretty tricky. So we're just foiling. So we're just doing this number, x times x times 2. 2 times x, 2 times 2. Okay, so there's our arrows. I'm going to show you in a second. So the first arrow is saying we're doing x times x plus x times 2. So that was this first x. So if we're doing colors, I'm actually going to do the other in a different color. I'm going to do this x in another color. Okay. I'm going to do this 2 in a different color. Oh, oops. This should be a different color. Make it orange. Okay. So we just did x times x, and then we're doing x times 2. This shouldn't be colored at all there, by the way, so sorry about that. Then we're doing plus 2 times x plus 2 times 2. So again, this is a 2. Sorry if I need to make this darker. Okay. So that's a 2. This was a 2. Maybe we can get a little closer, make it better. There we go. This is a 2. Okay. This 2. And this x. So that's just where that came from. We just foiled it. This is called foil. Make sure you know that method. You need to know that. It's a very CCA topic. So x and x. So x times x is just x squared. X times 2 is 2x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 2 is 4. And we can still combine these. So again, combine your like terms. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 4. So that is just this piece here. We did this piece first. So that was just for our perfect squares. Okay? Now we want to do the whole thing. So to do the whole thing, we're going to take this here. So we're going to take x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now we're going to combine plus 1 and x plus 1 because we didn't do those yet. And now we're going to combine again. So I'm going to start by combining my x's. So these are my x's. And then, of course, you want to combine our constants. So we have x squared plus 5x plus, so we have 4 plus 1 is 5, 5 plus 1 is 6. So this is our final rule. X squared plus 5x plus 6. And as you can see, this is definitely not linear. So it's not going to be. So again, now all you're going to do, you finished it. You're going to just take some glue. You're going to glue everything down. And we're going to glue it into our notebook. And then you have your notes used because you are going to be with a group. You are going to be doing this tomorrow with a different pattern. You're going to be making a presentation. You're actually going to present again and get it done. So I'm taking that glue, just put it on there, stick it in your notebook, and now you have some good notes to do. Okay, perfect. So again, have our table of contents, and now you have all your notes that you can utilize. Okay? Alright, that's it.